What's up, guys, and welcome to the video on absolute value. Let's do it. What does it mean when we're taking the absolute value of something? First of all, absolute value is just these little bars that we see around this X, right? So that denotes absolute value. So let's say we're taking the absolute value of 3. Well, it's actually just 3. So what happened there? Absolute value is where we are taking an integer and we are finding the positive value of that integer, number, whatever. So we're basically we're putting it through a positive purifier, if you want to think about it that way. Well, what's the positive version of 3? Well, it's just 3 because 3 is already positive. What if we put -3 into absolute value? Well, we're cleansing it of that negativity, and so the absolute value of -3 is in fact 3. Let's take a quick look at the graph of an absolute value function, meaning if we had a function that was y equals the absolute value of x, it looks like it makes this crazy V shape. And the way to really think about it is from 0 onward out to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, infinity, it looks just like the function y equals x. But that left side, okay, that actually doesn't look like y equals x, and the reason why is because a normal y equals x line would continue into the negative plane for the y values, but here y can never be negative, right? We're cleansing that x value. Even when the x values go negative, we're putting it through the absolute value purifier, so all those values are going to come out positive. So this function never dips into the negative zone. That's why it goes back up, it shoots back up again to the left. Now let's talk about how to solve an absolute value problem. So we're going to start with this very simple equation of absolute value of x equals 3. So here's the format. We take this and we split it into 2 equations. The first one we split into x equals 3. It's the same equation but without the absolute value. The other equation is x equals -3. So it's again the same, but everything outside of the absolute value now turns negative. And then we just solve, and we see in this one we don't have much to do, we're already done. We got 2 values, we got x equals 3 and x equals -3. And that makes sense because, as we already saw, if we took the absolute value of 3, we just get 3, which is on the right side anyways. But if we plug the -3 into the absolute value, we'll also get 3. But now let's try something a little more complicated. Now let's say we have x plus 3 equals 4, and that x plus 3 is an absolute value symbols. So we're going to split this again. We're going to bifurcate into 2 equations. First, again, x plus 3 equals 4. It's the same equation, but without the absolute value. The second one is x plus 3 equals -4. So again, anything outside of that negative, or outside of the absolute value, becomes negative. All right, now let's solve each of these individual equations. So on the left, we've got to isolate by subtracting 3 from both sides. We're trying to get that x value alone. So once we do that, we subtract 3 from 4 and we get x equals 1. That makes a lot of sense. Now let's try the other side. We're again subtracting 3 from both sides to isolate x. -4 and -3 combined, or -4 minus 3, gives us -7. But does that one work? Well, let's look at our original equation. If we have -7 plus that 3, we get -4, right? So the 2 combine to give us -4, and the absolute value of -4 is indeed 4. That's all for the video on absolute value. Let's get into some practice problems.